So I've just been reading a bit of the Bible, right? Yeah. Jesus is talking to a group of people. He does that a lot. Yeah, he does. And they're trying to catch him out, right? Well, they do that a lot too. It's like they don't even like him. Well, some people do like him, but other people don't. That's what I know. And just like today then. So what did he say in this bit of the Bible you've been reading? He says everything Moses taught in the Jewish scriptures hangs on two hooks. Like two hooks? Yeah, kind of. What do you think there was? Like meat hooks or picture hooks? What? Well, if it's meat hooks, they're like for cows and chickens and stuff, because there is some animals that the Jewish people aren't even supposed to eat. What are you talking about? But if it's picture hooks, Jesus might be saying that what Moses taught, his teachings are like too light and flimsy to be hang on anything big. It's not about the kind of hooks, is it? You sure? Sounds important to me. If you hang me on a hook, right? Well, my coat, obviously, it's not a movie, tempting. You'd stick me and put me on a hook, right? I'm not going to hang on a picture hook, am I? I'm just going to fall off. And the whole of Jesus' argument goes up in flames. No, unless it was a picture hook, like in the Louvre Gallery in La France. Some of them pictures is proper big and every year. But even then, I think the amount of pies that have gone into my mouth, I'm probably heavier than that Mona Lisa sketch in France. She's well skinny. Oh no, listen. It's what Jesus said next that's the more important part. Alright? Don't get all hung up on it. Not very funny. Jesus says, everything in the first part of the Bible, right? It all hangs on these two things. Number one, loving God. And B, loving people. And he says if we do them two things right, we'll fulfill like the whole of everything that God's after. Well, that can't be true, can it? Why? Well, aren't there like over 15 rules and stuff in the Old Testament? Over 600, I bet. No, that is more than 15. So you're telling me that all of it comes under either loving God or loving people? That seems way too easy. Isn't it meant to be hard? What? Isn't what meant to be hard? That's why we need like vicars and bishops and castles and rooks and archdeacons and priests and RE teachers and stuff. People what have got multiple degrees from posh places. I think it's meant to be simple but difficult. Ah, that's how people describe me. It's not meant to be complicated to understand. It's meant to be difficult to live out though. How's that then? Well, tell me something that you would see as an example of not loving someone. Robbing a shop. Right, so robbing a shop equals not loving people. Punching a nun in the face. Okay, thanks, yeah, good example. That's breaking both, isn't it? What about, just hypothetically, you kill someone's pet badger in a mincer, then you make a pie with it, and you send it back to them, but it's for a price that's way too high, and they don't even know it was you what killed their badger, and then they think it's a real pie, but they're vegan, but they don't realise it's their badger, and they sent so much on the pie that they can't even subscribe to their streaming service, so they come for you for help, and you laugh in their face, and you reveal a horrible truth that you're not going to help them pay for their streaming service, but the financial burden that they're now in, and you just let their badger. So that would be not loving people and weird. What about not loving God? Well, what do you think? Well, I don't know, I only got a D in my GCSE RE. Years ago. Something about loving God with all of your heart, soul, body, mind and strength or something in there. That's it. That's what Jesus said. So your whole heart. Is that like having to cut out your heart like some kind of human sacrifice? No. And your mind, right, is that think only about God all the time, and even if you daydream about, say, a badger pie for 2 minutes, you get smited by a fiery thunderbolt? No. But what about your soul? Have we got to make some kind of dealio with the spirit world where we sell our soul to Jesus and we're trapped in a small print for the rest of our lives and never get old, but we do shine like we came out of a self-tanning booth a little bit too early? What? And loving with all your strength, is that like beating people up who don't want to follow Jesus? You're all like, you're not following Jesus, mate, so I'm going to lamp you one in the face. Is that what he's after? Because I've got some friends who can teach you some really effective neck chops if you want. No, listen. The ways Jesus talks about our soul, mind, strength are just different ways of saying give God everything. Everything. Does he want my laptop? No, I don't think he wants your laptop. He might be interested in what you're watching on your laptop. Is that because he hasn't got Netflix in heaven? No, he's interested in what you watch on your laptop. Oh, he knows about that, does he? He knows everything. It's embarrassing. But I do know loads of guys who like musicals, and the whole Bollywood scene is actually got a whole load of good content in, you know. Listen, it wants worshipping God and loving people to be the filter you run everything through. But people say, I haven't got a filter. But, I mean, anything about the world that you know, your time, what you do in secret, what you say in secret, how you treat the planet and your friends and your parents, how you treat people you don't have to be nice to, what you allow yourself to be thinking about in that thick skull of yours, whether you choose to forgive or not, how you treat other people's bodies and your own body, all of it comes through these two filters of does it show I love and worship God, and is this loving to people? Right. The whole badger pie thing? Is that just a random but specific example? Sure. Let's go with that. What about all the stuff about meat hooks then? It wasn't meat hooks. You made that part up. Listen, Jesus said everything about what following all the rules in the Bible. A list of over 15 rules and laws. That's right. If we stop either loving God or loving people, the whole thing falls down. So I just want to check. Mincing up someone's pet badger means I destroy the whole of the Bible. That's where Jesus comes in, isn't it? Right. Because his sacrificial death on the cross meant that he became the substitute for my inner soul, and when I realised the fundamental error of my ways and I turned 180 degrees back to God, I asked Jesus to forgive me, the power that raised Jesus from death comes to live inside me and transforms this frail and flawed human into a newly born child of the King, and now from now on into eternity. Something like that. Better go and see someone about a badger then. See you later. Same time next week. If I'm not in prison.